to reveal JC.
Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
TiVoMike!
Hello and welcome to the TiVoMike Show. I'm your humble host, Michael TiVoMike Jefferson, coming to you live to tape from Steiner Studio in Providence, Rhode Island. Boom shakala to the cat's meow. It never gets old. I am here in the studio with the Lord of all, our Lord and Savior. I am not here, however, with my best friend, the show's entertainment guru. He is not here this week, but we will not let that keep us from following him on Twitter at EGMike84. That's at EGMike8, the numerical 8 and the numerical 4 on Twitter. Follow him, especially during the broadcasts of Law & Order Special Victims Unit, Law & Order Organized Crime, and all the Chicago shows. If you want to live tweet with him, go ahead and do that. Follow him on Twitter at EGMike84. That's at EGMike8 and 4. Now let's get started with today's righteous recap of Law & Order Special Victims Unit. What a show. Benson and Rollins, glory. They must contend with the FBI and the Organized Crime Bureau, even though this was not a cross episode like with the TV shows. It was just some of the Organized Crime Unit in SVU show. Bureau when a rape victim identifies a dangerous mobster as her assailant. I mean, first of all, a rapist is already dangerous, let alone being fully connected. And when I say connected, we all saw what happened. And before we realized that, of course, he was a mobster, and she got away successfully, fled from him, gets to the stairs, and in front of everyone, he drops her down the stairs. I was like, oh, someone's going to call the police. This is good. Like, at least it happened in the public. Oh, thank God, she's going to be safe. It's going to be good. And then he just looks at everyone and says, come on, everyone, clean it up. I was like, what the flip? I just knew this was going to be good. Because why? Because sexual offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate this vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. And this was their story. Dun dun. You know what I'm saying? It was good. But before we get to the deepness of it all and break it down and relive it all, I love reliving the episodes. It's like you were getting to watch it twice. Get to take it apart and analyze certain things and take certain lessons and move on with your life. At least that's what I do. Did you notice that she sung the full happy birthday song? Now, if you're following us, if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead in the comments and let me know if you know the significance of that scene, because I want to know. If you already know, I'm going to tell everybody, so it's not a secret, but I want to know if you already know the significance of that scene being in the show. Well, here it is. Literally, I believe it happened just a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, the happy birthday song has entered the public domain. That means that it's no longer eligible for royalties from the creator. And I forgot the person who wrote the song or whatever, and has been making hand over fist money over this for about 100 years or whatever, however long the claim lasts. So literally, if you ever heard the happy birthday song on TV, they had to pay for the rights to play. It's YouTubers know this. If you put a song on your video, you can get a copyright claim, but you can't get a copyright claim if it's in the public domain, and that's certain or a royalty-free music. So that's really the interesting part to me. I caught it right away. I was like, wow, NBC is so souped that they can play those songs without paying a dime. Hey, it is a pandemic, people. Times are tough. NBC is, they're watching their wallets. Dun dun, for real. But listen, this episode it had all the feels. It had all the feels. And let me just say, I know they say, I don't believe them. They, and who are the they, really? The media. But they, quote, the media, think that the fans, us, are divided over the will they, won't they between Stabler and Benson. Let me help you with this. We're not. We don't want a will they or won't they. They are friends. Okay? They are partners. They are colleagues. They have history. We're not interested in will they shack up and make a whole bunch of little Bensons and Stablers in the world. That never was what the show was about or focused on. We don't give a care. We don't follow them into, ironically, the show about special victims here. We don't follow them into the bedroom. All right, that's not a thing we're going to do at all. So thank you. That was hilarious. So with that out of the way, so we don't care. So I think the media's trying to prop that up, like, oh, maybe there's a chance. Maybe some people want that. No one wants that. No one wants that. Okay, Stabler can go and mess with all the other mobsters, ex-wives or whatever. And Benson, yeah, if she wants someone, she can go find someone. Everybody's always talking about her. They're like, oh, look at this. She's a hot ticket or whatever they say. Whatever is politically motivatedly correct to say about her, okay? But Benson was determined. I mean, at the height of her Bensonness than I've ever seen. She wasn't sitting back and letting the squad do everything and then showing up to handle the press or to handle, the logistics. No, she was on the scene fighting for her victim. And I mean, we expect no less from Benson, but she was particularly, if she's normally at a 10, she was a 15 on this the whole time. And it's causing some issues because obviously Benson was determined to be there for that rape victim who knew that she was putting her life on the line, being willing to testify against this connected person. And she even said to them, listen, I don't know what y'all can do because, he's all connected and Benson does what Benson does and promise, listen, none of that's going to get in the way at all. It's not going to get in the way. We're not letting it get in the way. You are a victim. He is a perpetrator. We are going to catch him. We are going to prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law. We got you, girl. That's what she said. And I believed her. I said, well, because they're going to do their whole thing throughout the episode to make it look like they're not going to get their way. But in the end, she'll get her man. And no, she didn't. Not only did she not get her man, she didn't bring any comfort, no aid, couldn't give any wisdom, words of solace, nothing to this victim who was outraged by the end of the episode and let Benson know it. I don't know what's going on. And then it ends. Well, let's go in order before I say why they may have a rift, maybe not between Benson and Stabler, but the results of this episode may have an impact against Benson and the rest of her team. That is interesting. I think if in the comments below, right, tell me if you think the show is going to, over this course of the season, is going to start having a rift between Benson and her team or between Benson and Stabler. But I know this is setting up something bigger. I think I can see this really brewing for the long haul. Because, of course, organized crime takes over. And this happens from time to time in the show where the FBI, the Organized Crime Bureau, the federal government, the tax police, like whoever is another state, like always tries to come in and, oh no, I know you want this perpetrator, but there's a greater organized division we're trying to correlate and we need this person free to testify against this person. It's like just a weird, it's unfortunate is what it comes down to, because as a fan of the show, you want to believe all these organizations are for victims and are against the perpetrators to bring them to the fullest extent of justice possible. So we don't like the inner fighting between one unit and another unit and their different goals and things. Like, can't we do all things? Can't we just do it all? Well, no, we can't. And Benson isn't having it. So they, of course, take the guy, but we don't know if Stabler was in on it or not, right? Because she's just wondering, can she trust Stabler? Especially since Rollins is on the go. I think I think Rollins is on the rise. I mean, she's already been phenomenal, but this girl, this woman is doing her thing. She don't trust people. She has that, it was like, now I forgot her name. Not Ruzek. Oh, what's Ruzek's girlfriend? Oh, anyway, Ruzek's girlfriend on PD, how she went and spoke to the victim and within seconds knew she was lying. Rollins is like, I don't trust Stabler. Benson's like, no, Stabler doesn't know. He didn't know. He gave me his word that we could trust him, that he was going to help us get this perp to justice, that we were going to be able to prosecute this case. We have a strong case. We now have the DNA. We have the victim willing to testify against this well-connected mobster. She's risking her life, because normally the show is that, right? Them talking to the victim to convince the victim to come and testify, and we'll protect them. We'll protect you, they'll say. This one, the victim was like, listen, I got this. Yes, I know who it was. It was this person right there, this, that, and the third. You know, he has a third ear on his elbow. Like, she was just saying everything. But anyway, so Stabler's like giving her the information, like, of course, Liv, this is what's going on. Yeah, we got you. But we find out later, nope, no one got Liv. So does Elliot know? I personally think no. Write in the comments if you think Elliot knows that what was going to happen or not. I say no. I don't think I could handle it if he was in on taking away SVU's case. If he was involved with letting the guy get away with taking their perp for another case to either prosecute in their own way or to use him to testify against others or whatever their plan is, some dumb plan, I want to believe that Elliot Stabler, my Elliot, would not do that to my Liv. Okay, but Rollins, no, she ain't playing that. She reminded her that she doesn't know him anymore. She said, Liv, you don't know him anymore. It's been a long time. I think she even said it's been 7 seasons. No, she didn't say that. But Liv wants to believe that he was the man who had her back during these 12 years. Heart-wrenching case. They went through some cases. I mean, we're not going to go down memory lane, but they've been through enough to, I think, establish and fortify trust. If the show writers break that, they better have a darn good reason. I mean, and not just, well, it's for the greater good. No, that can't be a darn, because you could have given Liv the heads up on that. You could say, no, we are going to take him, Liv, but it's going to be for the greater good. I know this sucks, but it's going to happen. But you can't just say that with, no, you better have a good reason, a mother effing reason, y'all. It's a family show, so I have to refrain from cursing, which has gone away. Just a side note here, a side tangent. I cursed. Yeah, isn't that something? I did it. I now no longer can say all my life I've never cursed. I cursed. And it was over something stupid. Some stupid rapper lady. Ugh. But anyway, it wasn't like it was my goal in life never to do that. It was just years ago when I was in college when I realized that I was like, oh. And I did. Took like a badge of honor. Pride, maybe, but pride goes before the fall. So I fell down. Anyway, so she wants to believe the best, I think. And I don't think Stabler knew. He didn't know. No. I just refuse. He did not know. But Stabler only made a quick phone call to assure he didn't know that Navarro was going into witness protection before going off the grid. He said that, right? That's on screen. That's on file. He made the call. He said it. So again, writers, if you're going to change that, he literally lied. It wasn't like he omitted, which is also lying, but he committed. So you better have a good reason. So that's one of the reasons I just don't think, no, he would not. He would have no reason to do that over that case. He doesn't care enough about that to, no. The stuff they've been through, please. Having that come to Jesus moment when they all intervened to make sure had the intervention for him to get help. He wouldn't have. No, I just refuse. I'm sorry, I just can't let that go because that's a major sticky point. They're gonna, because again, I think the writers are planning on making this incident rift or cause a rift with Liv and the team, Because I think Rollins does not listen. She don't know a stable from a lur. Okay? She don't know an L from a Liyut. She is like, listen, it's been a while. He's changed. People changed. He knew, and he's a bastard. And subliminally, she's really also saying to Liv, and you're a fool for believing it. So it's not just that Rollins doesn't trust Stabler. She now doesn't trust Liv's instinct when it comes to him, I think. And I think that will be a more interesting story and play that the writers could do, because then the writers get to play off this idea, right? It's really creative, because here for 12 years they've made both him and Liv clean, they like good guys. So in the writers' minds, they kind of get to paint Elliot as a bad guy, at least through the lens of Rollins. And I think that'll be interesting for us fans as we continue to watch, for that to kind of see how that plays out. Much more interesting than if they find out that Elliot lied to Liv, because then I don't forgive him. I mean, again, unless it's a good reason, like, oh, Liv, if he literally told me, if I told you, or even winked and gave you a whiff of a hint that it's upcoming, that he was going to kill your son, and he can make it happen. And I was just I didn't want to test his boundaries and test his reach, so I had to, for the sake of Noah. That would be good. Woo! Plus, they would also, see, that's not enough. He would also had to say all of that, and then show him, like in a flashback, trying to get to whoever he thought could get to Noah to try to take them out. Like, so he doesn't just take the bad guy's word or threat at face value, but he did something overtly to mitigate those risks, and he failed. So it has to be all of that plus more for him to get away with it. So I think it's just better to keep it with Rollins, because she doesn't have any history with Stabler. She didn't watch the show before she came on the show. You know what I mean? She's not a fan. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, Benson finally trusts her old friend, but it's going to be really tough. But now the rape survivor can't get justice. Remember, through all of this, we're making it about Liv and the team and Liv and Ellie. There's the woman. Hopefully they gave her some hope for the series by saying she may be able to walk eventually, but for now confined her to a wheelchair. Like, this is a big deal. So no justice for her at all. And possibly they're trying to really, at least through Rollins' eyes, it's all because of Stabler, or at least in part because of him. But this is the first time that Benson has lost her chance on bringing a rapist to justice. That happens all the time. But this is just different. This was personal, because it's Elliot and the team. And also, if he didn't know, how high up did whoever did know keep it from him? Like, was it just Elliot's partner? Did she keep it from him? Does she know? And she was like, well, listen, I know you and Liv were, really close, and I couldn't trust you with this because I know you would tell her, which could have jeopardized our case or jeopardized him getting into witness protection. And then that can be a rift between now Elliot and his new partner. You see what I'm saying? And he's fighting that out because he's got to forge almost the kind of relationship he had with Liv with his new partner. If you want to be a success, you can't not trust your partner. That's like an unwritten rule, right? So this was like, this show, it made it personal. It wasn't just another organization, another department, another federal enterprise. No, this was Elliot. Oh, Liv, and I was heartbroken for Liv. Were you heartbroken? I mean, this is one of the few times she couldn't do anything. Like, I mean, anything. She could do nothing for the survivor. Couldn't nail the rapist. Couldn't offer comfort. She had no liveness. She didn't have any live quotes to to give the girl, like, it's gonna be okay because one day at a time. No, none of this one day at a time. The woman said, listen, I knew from the beginning that Navarro had connections, but you promised that you wouldn't let that get in the way of justice. Wow. And what was weird is, and I know maybe because Liv is also a team player. She's too good. because she's also a team player. She didn't say nothing. She didn't express any outrage in front of the victim about her outrage about the incident. You notice that? Like, she was, well, this is going to happen. You know, there was another thing, but we will maybe see what we can do. No, you should be like, you know, F-bombs. They should have been bleeping her going, you know, and then the mother effer did this and they told me this and I was so pissed off and I'm trying to figure this out now and what can we do? Like, you didn't give that to, I think that would have given some justice to her. I mean, from Tara's point of view, it was like, you look like you don't care either. You know, I'm the only one who's angry. But just the previous scene, we, the fans, got to see Liv angry, but Tara didn't get to see Liv angry. It was so was she doing that for the sake of the team? You know, you have a united front. I remember once I used to work at this company with customer service, and they told us when another department does something wrong, gives wrong information or whatever it is to the customer, and they're on the phone with you, don't throw them under the bus, right? Don't say, oh, well, that department doesn't do it right, or they'd mess up. Take ownership, responsibility. We're all one. And say, well, we did this error. We will resolve. And I would be so heated internally listening to this meeting. Like, what the flip? You want me to apologize? I didn't do nothing wrong. I wasn't involved. I wouldn't have done that, you know. But hey, they paid me, so I had to do it. And but it would be hard. I had to grit my teeth and be like, yeah, we did tell you the wrong information, as I'm shaking my head. No, I didn't. I didn't do any of that. But anyway, so it would have been really nice, I think, for Tara's character to have seen that in Liv versus the calm, bad news delivering Liv. You know, especially with all that she's gone through. The woman's in a wheelchair. In front of all those people who did nothing to help her. In fact, left her for dead. I'm getting angry again. But she lost everything. Tara really did. And she was willing, and was willing to risk her life to testify against them. That's the piece. Willing to give it all up. She was like, I'm already in the chair. You would think she's like, oh, forget it. Nothing's worth it. I mean, I know no, she was like, I'm not done. I'm willing to do what I got to do. I'm going to give names. I'll sing a song. I'll sing happy birthday again. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. It's just, see, SVU just couldn't do nothing. They couldn't hold on to Navarro. Couldn't even hold on to take him to trial. Because at least if the trial started, maybe it's more difficult than to be ushered into witness protection. I don't know. I don't know how that'll go. When I was in criminal justice, we didn't learn that. We didn't learn how you can get a perp, but you could lose them to witness protection secretly. You know, it's just, but you know, Liv, I still love you. Her good intentions. She doesn't give up, but it did feel like she gave up. And I mean, and I know it was already done. Like, so you know. Call a spade, but I didn't like that part. Not that I'm going against the show or the writing. No, it was all perfect. I'm just saying, just being immersed in the story, I'm upset that she feels like she's given up. Like, don't give up, Liv. You got the power, girl. You can do it. But the case was decided by people who weren't even part of SVU. And obviously people that thought that the SVU priorities weren't big, which I want them to say, see, to me, I don't want to just continue with the same trope of, well, a rape victim isn't as important as X. Because they never really fully explain X. They'll say, oh, well, there's a bigger case. It involves $100,000 million of enterprise, and it goes all far up as Congress people. Yeah, that's very nice. But we have a real victim right here. Like, yeah, it's going to suck that there's a congressman who's controlling the world or whatever. Well, work on that later. You haven't gotten it for the last 20 years. What's one more year at really? But you have a victim here. And if the reason you're trying to shut the whole thing down because all the people it's hurting, well, it just hurts someone. So you're saying, well, will it for it to hurt you, but we just want a bigger case so that it'll stop hurting people like you. No, I say F that. You do this now, boo. You do you, boo. And then you also go get them later. But it was awesome to see how strong she was throughout the whole thing, though. Until the end, when she had to talk to the lady and didn't give her any of that Liv anger she should have shown her. She looked like she had abdicated. Like, it just sucks. But she didn't take any BS. She wanted to be involved every step of the way. When even in the interrogation, when Stabler was there, and Stabler said, "Liv, can you leave the room?" She was like, "Heck to the no," and she stayed right there because you know what Stabler would have done. You know what he was going to do. The show tried to make it like, oh, is he trying to like give him the heads up? Like, we have a deal. Don't worry about it. We're going to put you in WITSEC. No, I think Stabler was going to take that dude's head and crush it through a wall, bless God. I think that's what he was going to do. That's my Stabler. Hashtag my Stabler. Pushing a man's head through a wall, and they showed it in the guts, and the blood just all gushed and fell, and then the girl who was raped gets to come into the room, and she gets to stomp on it or whatever with the wheels, just roll over him with just say and spit on him and say, "You're a dead man, justice," or whatever. Yeah, that would have been good. I mean, it would have been R-rated, but that would have been a good one. That would have really been good. But then they had the raid. How fun was this scene? It was almost like an Ocean's 11 thing. This thing was big. Make it look convincing, he said to Stabler. And he did. He shot him. And then Liv was like, "Did you do that for my benefit? Or what is going on? Did y'all plan that?" Stabler was like, "No, I didn't plan that. I don't know what he was doing. He was reaching for something. He wanted me to shoot him." So either he didn't want to go to WITSEC, he wanted just to die. Like, I'd rather just die than live and be worried about someone killing me. I might as well go out now on my own terms, death by cop kind of thing, or suicide by cop, whatever they call it. But nope, it was heartbreaking in the end. Navarro got away thanks to the U.S. Marshals, which ironically was where Rollins was before she came to Law and Order. Remember the short-lived series on NBC, U.S. Marshals? That's right. She was a U.S. Marshal. So it's just kind of ironic that it was the U.S. Marshals who got Navarro to be taken away. And yet here she is on the new team. But Rollins thinks Benson just doesn't know Stabler clearly. That's really what it is. She thinks you let in the past cloud your relationship. And then Carisi believes the same thing. She's like, "Listen, Stabler played us." But Benson's loyalty to Stabler, and I think she does still have it, will cause rift. I really think that's what's going to happen. The team is going to be like, I don't know. I think that's what's going to happen. It feels, I want that to be the case. I don't want it to be Stabler lied. I just don't. But this relationship, this case has hurt their friendship for, no doubt, for at least for a little bit, no matter how it went. If he knew or didn't know, it doesn't really matter. But that's it. I mean, there's really nothing else to say. It's just going to be like, what's going to happen now? What is going to happen? I mean, I don't know. And it's interesting. I don't know. No, I'm not going to go any further because then I'm going to go on a tangent about this. I'm really mad. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so good. But anyway, I liked it. I think it was great. It was a great episode. It's all the feels. It's going to continue. I don't think we're done with this storyline either. Again, I think there's a big deal because otherwise I think they would have written it like, oh, Tara's going to be confined to a wheelchair. She's been paralyzed. They kept everything open. Oh, she may be paralyzed. She may be able to walk again. We think he's in WITSEC. Maybe he's something. So, again, I think it's all going to come back. I don't think we're done with her or any of these players. It was fantastic. Well, that puts another episode on the books. I don't have anything to say that we can glean from that other than this. Always trust your friends. The Bible says friend sticks closer than a brother. So even if it seems like you can't trust your friend, you can. Never stop trusting your friend. Once trust is broken, it cannot be repaired easily. It really can't. It's going to take all of the grace of God to do that. So keep that remote close, but the Savior even closer. Bye-bye.